Listen, if your plan for next year is just to get more new patients in the door, we need to talk because hope or hoping something that is going to happen is not a strategy, and winging it is not going to get you the growth that you actually want. Let's map out a smarter way to plan out the next 12 months in your business so you can stop winging it and repeating the same thing over and over and actually get serious about growing. Let's go. Welcome to the Clinical Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm Rhonda, your no fluff, tell it like it is business bestie for wellness practitioners just like you who want to build a practice you love and make a bigger impact and a little money while you're at it. So if you're ready to ditch the overwhelm, attract your dream, ideal patients, and finally run your practice with complete confidence, you're in the right place. Each week, we're tackling things from programs to patient retention to marketing strategies that actually work, sprinkled, of course, with a little sass, a lot of heart, and the step-by-step strategies that will help you get there. So grab your cup of coffee, your notebook, or whatever keeps you going, and let's build a practice you love and a life you love together. Well, hey friends, welcome back. I'm glad you're here today hanging out with me. We're going to talk about growing your business in the next 12 months. As you know, if you've been hanging around with me for any amount of time, you know we've been in the middle of a 12-month growth strategy plan. And every month I just cover kind of a different topic. So if you are late to the party, you can still go get all of the resources. Every month there are 2 additional resources. So by the end of the 12-month period, you're going to end up with 24 different resources that will help you grow your business. So this month, we're going to talk about planning, about looking back, doing some reviewing, and then also making a plan moving forward. I mean, when I very first started, I kind of had the same idea. I was like, I hope I get more new patients and, they'll probably come in from some referrals and people are happy and they'll keep sending people. But that's not really a great business strategy. Like just a wing and a prayer, and we're kind of hoping that people are just going to come in. I do believe that if you're going to have a successful practice and the goal being to have a greater impact on people, right? We're not doing this because we want to be greedy, because we want to just like get rich off of the backs of people. That's not it. You are providing a transformation that's changing someone's life, and that is worth something. And so you should be paid for what you know, just like an accountant or an attorney. You don't go to them and ask them for a discount. Why do people think that they can come to us and ask us for a discount? I should probably not get started on that because I'll end up with a hot flash and then down a rabbit hole. So save that rant for another day. But really, you deserve to get paid for what you do. But that doesn't mean that everybody recognizes the value that you have. So in order to be able to convey that value, there's kind of a lot that goes into it. But the first thing we have to do before we can even make a plan is to kind of take a step back and do a little bit of thinking time on this. Like how can we evaluate what worked and then set a plan to make sure that next year we go into the next 12 months with more than just like a wing and a prayer and a hope, because that really never works. We don't take time to pause and evaluate. So this is not some big fluffy goal setting session. I promise. I'm going to just give you my own strategies, the things that I've learned and am learning over the years. And we're going to get you all sorted out. Are you ready? So what I want to talk about first is, I think, a big overlooked item in most practices. In fact, I don't know, I would say of all the practitioners and businesses that I've worked with over the 10 plus years I've been doing this, I would say less than 5. And I've worked with hundreds of doctors, hundreds of practice owners. And I would say less than 5 had this one thing in place in their business, less than 5. So I think it's pretty safe to say that 99% of people are going to not have this. And that is the key metrics that are going to help you drive your business, just like you drive a car, right? Your metrics are like a dashboard. And what are those metrics? Well, there are 4 key metrics and then one other number that I think every single practice needs to have in order to know where to focus your growth. So like on a car dashboard, if the oil light is on, I'm not going to go refill the wiper fluid because what my My dashboard is telling me that I have a problem with my oil. There's a leak, something's happening with the oil. It tells me exactly what to do. So I know, do I need to just go, is my car just dirty? Do I just need to run it through a car wash? What do I need to do? Do I just need to go fill up what? No, I got to go take it somewhere and have someone change the oil in my car. Your business metrics are that same thing. It basically gives you insight into what's working and not working. When there's no oil light, everything's good. When you know your numbers and they're right where you want them to be, you know that they don't need any attention. But as soon as the light starts to flash, that's when you say, uh-oh, problem, and you can course correct. Rather than doing the, hope, a wing, and a prayer, and we just hope for more people and hope for more referrals. There has to be some kind of a intentional forethought about how we're going to create that, but you can't do that without knowing your numbers. I'm not talking about going and doing a deep dive financial analysis. I'm not talking about that. I'm going to make it really simple for you. So let's talk about these metrics first. Number one is your retention rate. Now, your retention rate, I think, is, again, there's 4 of them. We're going to talk about all 4. But this first one, this retention rate is basically, it lets you know what percentage of your patients are returning. So when you calculate this, what we're going to do is we're going to take our returning patients. This does not include new patients, okay? Only the people that are coming back for repeat care. So let's say in a whole month you saw 100 people and 20 of those were new, 80 were returning. That's awesome. If you had 80 out of 100 people that returned, then we're going to take that 80 and we're going to divide that by 100, and then we're going to multiply it by 100 so we get a percentage. So the formula is basically returning patients divided by your new patients times 100. That's it. It's real easy. It's easy math. That's going to give you your retention rate. We want your retention rate up around 80%. That's where we want it. So 80% is our goal. Or if you just do the math, it should be 0.8, right? The second one that we want to look at is the conversion rate. So we know how many people we're retaining, but with those new patients, how many of the new patients are actually converting into, new leads, prospective patients? How many of them are converting into new leads? And that's also what we want to know. That's called a conversion rate. The conversion rate is your total number of new patients divided by your total number of consultations, new patient consultations. So let's say you had maybe you do a free call or something like that. And let's say you had, 8 of those. I'm not going to be able to do the math on the fly, but let's say you had 8 total consultations, but you only had 3 new patients. So you would take 3 new patients divided by that 8, and that is going to give you multiplied by 100, but that's going to give you your percentage. We want that conversion percentage, that conversion rate to be high. When you get someone in front of you and you're talking to them new, they've not worked with you before, right? This is conversion into a patient. If they're talking to you and you're talking about value, you're talking about the transformation that they're going to have, you're talking about their outcome, what this is going to make possible for them, how they're going to be able to live a better life, all of that, and they say yes every single time or 9 times out of 10, that is a beautiful conversion rate. But if you're finding that you're talking to people and they're not saying yes, that is just a warning sign on your dashboard. It just tells you that maybe you need to talk about what you do a little differently. Maybe you need to do some it's basically sales. I know we don't like to think about it, but it is. It's basically sales. You're helping someone see their need and then you're offering them a solution. That's all that sales is. Don't think of it as being slimy because it's really not. So if your conversion rate isn't high, then you got a blinking light on your dashboard and we got to get that fixed for you. So we want that conversion rate to be up about 80%. The next metric is your revenue per patient. I think this one is so, so, so important, and here's why. If you've ever thought about running ads obviously they cost money. So if you're going to run ads and the goal of the ads is not to spend money to keep your new patients happy, it's what? It's to get your name out there, your business out there, to get more new people in the door, right? Well, those ads cost money. Well, where is the break-even point for how much money you would spend on an ad versus how much revenue that patient's going to bring you? And I don't mean to make it all about money, but hey, look, running a business is just numbers. It's just math. That's all it is. It's just math. So if you have a really high drop-off rate, people come and see you once and they don't come back, then that's a problem you have to fix inside the business. And that patient is only worth to you, let's say the new patient, let's say you're charging $350 for a new patient appointment. If they're worth $350 to you and it costs you $200 a lead, and they can be that high, But if it costs you $200 a lead, you're only making $150. It's a lot of work for $150 and a patient that doesn't stick. But what if you knew what your retention or your revenue per patient was? And what if your per patient revenue is up around $6,000 or $7,000 over the course of a year, let's say? Now, how do you feel about spending $200 to get $600 or $6,000? Now, do you see how the perspective changes? Yes, if I put $200 in a slot machine and you're going to give me $6,000 back out, how many times are you going to put $200 in the slot machine? Every day, all day. I'm going to do that all day long. So don't let the $200 mess you up, but we have to know what is the revenue that we can on average expect per patient. So here's the formula if you want to write it down. It's your total revenue divided by your number of new patients. That's it. That's it. It's all you got. It just tells you the average value of the patient relationship. What is the total revenue of your patients divided by the number of new patients over a fixed period of time? So you want to make sure that what you're looking at is the right number. You can't do it by a month. Like I would do it over 3 months or 6 months or even a year. So what is your total revenue and how many patients did you see? There you go. There's your formula. And then another one that I like to look at is a no-show rate. I kind of like to know what's my percentage of people that are bagging out. And that's just missed appointments divided by total appointments. That one's easy to calculate. But what's my no-show rate or reschedule, people that make an appointment and then they don't show up. So I think that's also really important. There's another one that I like, and I'm going to throw it out here just as an extra. When you're looking back and you're trying to plan for your next season of growth, maybe it's a next quarter or a next year, you want to know what is your monthly break-even point. Yeah, that's kind of an important number. In other words, what is all of your utilities, all of your rent, your front desk staff if you have one, your pay, because you're not a volunteer. You are not a volunteer. You should get paid for what you do. All of the overhead that you have. What is the net you have to crack at the end of every month? That is really important to know because then I have to see X number of patients in order to just pay myself and cover my overhead. You got to know that number. That's an important one too. So, all right, then those are the metrics I think you need to know. And then what we also want to know is we want to think about where are those patients coming from? Where's the traffic coming from? Am I getting most of my leads from referrals? These are the questions that I would ask myself when I'm thinking about preparing to plan for a following year. Where are these leads coming from? Let's just say, hypothetically, you're getting a whole bunch of new leads from local people in your community, like your networking partners. Let's say you've got a couple of other chiropractors that you network with, or you have an OBGYN, or you have an eye doctor, or you have somebody that you've made a relationship with, and they're referring people to you. If 60 or 70% of those referrals are coming from the local people in your community, wouldn't you think that you'd want to lean into that a little bit more? Because it represents such a nice, healthy chunk of your referrals. Yes, if your biggest chunk of your referrals are coming from patients, then you may want to do a referral campaign or a contest or something like that. But you have to know, where is your traffic coming from? Where are your leads coming in? We really need to know that. Maybe it's social media. I don't know very many practitioners that have. I know a few, but not many that have big social media following. It's just about consistency on social media. That's it. Maybe it's from you're teaching something. You're doing online courses or seminars or something like that. But you want to know where your traffic is coming from when you're planning for your next year. Is this making sense to you? I hope it is. You want to know your numbers. I gave you the numbers. And then we want to know where's the traffic coming from. And then another thing that I like to ask myself is, what felt like it was a drain for me this past 12 months when I'm looking back a year or a quarter or 2 quarters? What felt heavy to me? What was the thing that I thought, I don't love that like I used to? Or it feels like a lot of work for the juice I'm getting from the squeeze. It just doesn't feel like it's worth it. Doesn't feel like the energy I'm expending is worth the outcome, what I'm getting back out of it. So you kind of want to ask yourself that. What felt heavy or misaligned? Maybe you thought going one direction or serving a certain type of people. Maybe you thought, oh, I'm going to start, working with men. And then you started and you're like, yeah, no, I know it's a no. That's okay. It's just, you just have to know it. It's just information for you. That's all. And then what are the things around you that are no longer serving you? And this is a little bit of a hard one because it could be staff. Sometimes staff, you'll start with someone and they're great until they're not great anymore. And then they get an attitude or they start showing up late or they're just not giving it their all. They're not passionate about it anymore. Maybe something changed in their life. Sometimes things just have to clean house and get rid of the things that are no longer helping you or benefiting you in the business. And that's part of being a good leader and part of being a good planner. And then before we strategize, one more thing, I like to say, what do I need to declutter? And if you've been hanging around with me for any time, you know at the end of every year, I make a toleration list of my top 100 tolerations. And it could be like dust on the baseboards in my bathroom. That might be a toleration because every time I'm in there, I see the dust and I think, ugh, I got to get that cleaned. That's a toleration. What are your tolerations? What are the things in your office that are messy or unkept or a file that you haven't, a filing project that you haven't completed? What is it that is just feels cluttery and chaotic in your world? We want to make sure that we get rid of that too. So start to think about, okay, what are 2 or 3 things that I can clean up that will create new energy, new space? It frees up the energy in your space, basically, so that you can then create and do something new. So now we've got metrics. We have to figure out what was not in alignment with you. We're going to declutter our space. And we're going to look at where our leads came from. I think those are the big key kind of factors that you have to know, or information that you have to know before you sit down and start to strategize. So now, if we're going to strategize, this is how I like to do it. I like to do it a quarter at a time. So if you're coming out of, let's say, 1 year and you're going into the next year and you say, okay, I know that I'll just use this as an example. Of my front desk staff, we have to just be done. I have to just let her go. She was great and she's just not great. All right. So you've made that decision that now that's the right decision for your business. Remember, you're the CEO of your business. And in Clinical Business Academy, I say this all the time, your circus, your monkeys. You get to do it however you want. Doesn't matter to me, but you have to figure out what's important to you. So you say, this individual is no longer a good fit for me, not really going to take me where I want to go. So now you've made that decision. That would be part of your Q1 strategy, right? I'm going to let this person go, but we're going to let them go. But what do we need? We need a replacement. So then part of your strategy for Q1 in switching out that front desk employee is going to be getting an ad written, getting it up on Indeed or wherever you're going to put it. And then how am I going to train them? How am I going to vet them? How am I going to make sure that they are really successful in their job? So that might be your focus in Q1, so that by the time you let the person go, you've got somebody else coming in and ready to get trained and up and going. This is what planning does for you, is it really allows you to be thoughtful about how you want to roll things out. Now, I will admit, my staff they listen to all these podcasts and they will tell me, yeah, listen, spoken from the queen of impulsivity. It's my jam. I am like an emotional buyer. I am a quick start person. If I have an idea, I want to do it right now. And I don't know why everybody else can't just keep up with me. I don't understand. Like, how come you don't all want to do this too? Let's go. We got things to do. Let's go. Let's get this done. Oh my gosh, it makes them crazy. I know this about myself. So planning like this for someone like me is really, really hard, but it's also, I recognize how valuable it is, because otherwise I would just go, okay, that's it. I've decided I'm going to let that person go. She's just not a good fit. And I would lovingly release her back into the workforce. And then I would say, oh my gosh, I got to get an ad written and I got to get that in the paper and I have a big problem now. So slowing down to be able to kind of do the analysis is really important, because it helps me say, okay, by the end of the first quarter, this is what we're going to do. This is my plan right here. So that's that value. So maybe Q1, that's your thing. Maybe in Q2, you might say, I really want to focus on increasing my supplement revenue by, okay, that's great, because it's a secondary source of revenue. Maybe your schedule is full and you can't take any more new patients, but you think, well, I could maybe drive that lever a little bit. And how do I do that? With integrity. We're not going to be, slimy or anything. Well, I don't know. Maybe you create some bundles or little groups of supplements that you can just sell to people in the waiting room for their mother or grandmother or sibling or spouse or something like that. Maybe you look at doing something in a package where people aren't going and buying them online, because a lot of practitioners are losing to online sellers. That's why I am a huge fan. Every single person in Clinical Business Academy, I swear that is like the thing that everyone works on. And once they get all of the details worked out in like a program or a package and they include the supplements in there, revenue goes off the hook, because you're capturing the revenue for the supplements. You're keeping it in your business. They're not going out off of FullScript or out onto Amazon trying to get supplements, for a discount, even though they're more expensive. So that might be something that you want to look at. Or you might want to say, I'm going to build out my networking connections in the community in the second quarter of the year. Just pick 4 things. So we have 4 quarters. Just pick kind of 4 goals. What are the 4 things that you want to focus on this next 12 months? Or the next 6 months. If you don't feel like you can do it for 12 months, just do it for 6 months. Do it for two quarters. But what are the things that you want to focus on? And then just pick 1 per quarter. It might be you want to create an onboarding something, or you want to launch a new program. You want to do your own program on, like, I don't know, bloating or burnout. Burnout's such a good one too. That's a good, because it's a searchable term. Throw that one out for you. So yeah, if you want to do, burnout, that's a great term. So you could do a 6-week program on, recovering from burnout or something. Now, when you set these goals, you want to make sure that they're not vague. So I kind of started the podcast today by saying, oh, I just want more new patients. I've done this. And I'm embarrassed. I just get embarrassed because I say, I want more, I want more new leads. What does that even mean? That's like me saying, I want souffle for dinner. Well, that's only a wish, because without a recipe, I'm dead in the water. And the ingredients. I need a plan. I need a recipe. I need the ingredients. I need all the things in order for me to say, I want souffle. So if I say, I want more new patients, great, that's the goal. But goal means nothing. I need a strategy behind it. What are the tools I need? How much time is this going to take me? How am I going to do that? Am I going to network? Am I going to do a referral campaign with my patients and start to, turn that engine? How am I going to do this exactly? So that's one thing that we really want to be thinking about. When you write these goals down, I want you to just be intentional. So if you have one thing per quarter, just be intentional. Don't make them vague. Say, I want to increase my revenue per patient by 10%. Great. That's it. That's specific, not I want to make more money, or I need to, you know, uh, I don't know. I want to buy a new car. Okay, well, how are you going to do that? Like, do you want to pay cash for it? How long is that going to take you? How much revenue do you need to make, etc. So just make sure your goals are really specific. And then when you make those goals, we have to make sure we have the infrastructure. That's kind of the strategy part I was telling you, right? That's like the instructions for the recipe for the souffle. I need the ingredients, and then I need a step-by-step. How am I going to get this done? And then lastly, I want to make sure that I have the right mindset. Because if I go into a goal, let's say, and I say, oh, I want more new patients, and then you remember what I'm telling you, and you say, okay, well, I want more new patients. So I think I'm going to go more on social media. Okay, that's great. You do that. What's your plan? What's your strategy? And do you have the right level of self-discipline, the right mindset, the right determination to really go do that? Do you? Or is this just a pipe dream? Is this just like, oh, I just going to get more people from new social media? Our mindset is critical in allowing us to be able to reach these goals. You have to know it and feel it and believe it. It has to be in every core, every fiber, in your deepest part of you. You're like, I know this next year, I am going to grow my practice and I'm going to see 40% more new people than I did this last year. And now you know, because you already did your metrics. I told you about those. So you know that you saw, I don't know, let's just say you saw 120 new patients, or you did consults, 120 consults, and maybe you only did 80. Only 80 of them said yes, but you saw 120 like new patient consultations, or new, like a free call or something. You want to increase that by 40%. Well, you know your number. Now you know what you're shooting for, and then you can break it down over the year. It doesn't have to be real hard and complicated. You just have to know, what is the North Star? So what's my North Star? More new patients, or I want to turn over my front desk person and I want to get a new person. Whatever that North Star is, you find the North Star, you go after the North Star, you're clear about it, you feel it, you know it, it's in your mind, you know you can have it. And then you go about and create the recipe for it. These are the ingredients that I need, and here's the instructions on how to do it. It's really that simple. So planning for the next 12 months doesn't mean that you have to have a big fancy planner. You don't have to go out and buy all that. Just no, you don't need that. Get a journal or a notebook and just start writing down, not goals. Remember, a goal is like a wish if it doesn't have the recipe to go with it. When you write down a goal, you have to have the instructions, the strategy, that the how and the what. What are we going to do? How are we going to do it? What are the tools that we need in order to get it done? But back to the beginning, you really have to know You have to look at your dashboard. What's working, what's not working. And if those key metrics are out of alignment, your retention rate, your conversion rate, et cetera, if those are out of alignment and you've got like flashing red lights on your dashboard, but then your goal is to, oh, I want to create a seminar or a course or something. No. Those are like your engine warning lights. Those you have to look at first. If you don't look at those, you're going to be in big trouble. So you're probably thinking, how am I going to remember all this? Well, lucky for you, this is the 10th month in the 12-month business growth plan series. And so I have 2 resources for you. Yes, I do. One is a sheet that shows you exactly what these metrics are. So it's just a little one sheet. It just has what it has the formulas on it. It has the metrics and then the formulas. You can go download those. And I also created another resource for you where you can start to be thoughtful about what your goals are. What are your metrics? It kind of leaves a space. It asks you, what are each of the metrics? You can go figure them out. You can kind of put them in there, and it's just going to help you plan for the next 12 months. It's going to get you to get your thoughts kind of all in one place. So you can focus on are there any like screaming red lights on my dashboard? If there are, let's fix those first. But how do I want to plan out the next 4 quarters? How do I want to look at the next 12 months or the next 6 months? What do I need to plan for? What's my recipe? What are the ingredients that I need? So I have those resources for you. Well, fortunate for you, I have got these resources for you. All you have to do is go to rhondanelson.com/12-month growth plan. So that's 12 like the number 12. So rhondanelson.com/12-month growth plan. When you log in, you get in there, you're going to go scroll down towards the bottom, but you'll see month 11. And that's where you can click through and download these 2 resources. You're going to love them, and they really are going to help give you clarity as you start moving into like the next year or the next, whenever you listen to this, the next 12 months of your business. You don't have to wait for a calendar year to start. It's really okay. You can start anytime. So go to rhondanelson.com/12-month growth plan. Scroll to and find month 11, where you're going to see how we're going to plan and help you plan for the next 12 months of growth in your business. Thanks for hanging out with me. If you'd like to join me inside Clinical Business Academy, it is always open and always ready for you. I will help you get to that high level of revenue and have a practice that really serves you well. Come join me, rhondanelson.com/CBA, stands for Clinical Business Academy. Until next week, friends, have a great week. I'll talk to you soon.